Hello, welcome to the third of our poster sessions this afternoon, and that music finished perfectly on time. So, that worked very well. So these poster sessions are designed really to enable us to actually have that time to go into the GatherTown Virtual Conference Center and properly network and view the posters, talk to each other, have that kind of networking that you would normally get when you go into a normal conference. So for this poster session, since we played all of the videos on Friday, which was only a few days ago, we've decided not to play the videos that we've got because you've seen them and also they're already on YouTube. And we're just going to go around the discussion poster boards just to give you an update on those. We're going to keep this as short as possible so you have as much time as possible to go around the posters, go around the conference center and network with each other and have a chat with everybody. And we, of course, will be in the conference center as well after this is finished, have a chat with you as well. So in terms of the videos, if you have a poster and you want to give us a new video, then please do so. And we'll play that in the next poster session, the last one, which will be next week. And also if you're a sponsor or you indeed anyone in the community who'd like to have a video played as part of this session, please email it to us, send us a link and we'll play it as part of the session. For the existing videos, as I said, we've recorded them all. They're all on YouTube and have a look at them there. So for the things that update, we have the discussion posters. These are updating all the time as people are editing them. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to hand over to James. He's going to take us on a tour around the discussion posters and show us their current status. Over to you, James.
Hi, everybody. So I think I should introduce myself first. So I'm James Womack. I'm an RSE at the University of Bristol. And with Kristen Merritt, who you might have met at the ALSIS flight booth, we have been working on the discussions and panel sessions for the conference. And so the call for discussions was somewhat different to the calls for the other types of sessions in that we had a sort of a session. We had a call where we asked people to propose topics, and then we had a vote on those topics. And some topics got selected by the vote and became actual discussion sessions, a few of which have already run. But we got lots of really great suggestions and we didn't want to just throw those suggestions in the bin. So the idea that we came up with was to have poster boards themed around the discussions that anyone can contribute to, that you can have discussions around a topic. So we can bring those questions to the conference in addition to the primary discussion sessions. So what I'm going to do now is try and take you on a little tour of the poster boards in GatherTown and talk a little bit about each topic. So here we go. Hopefully you can see me. I put on a little pink pirate hat to make myself more obvious. I can see a few people walking around in GatherTown already. So the discussion poster boards are poster P1010 to P1014. And if you want to go and view a poster, I'm being followed by Jez here, then you can just press X and enter the poster. And what it should bring up is a little Google Drawing interface where you can interact with the poster. So what we have here is a little board, and you can interact with it by adding text, or you can add drawings, you can add funky emojis or XKCD pictures, anything you like, and we really encourage you to be artistic. So it's probably a bit zoomed out for you right now. The reason for this is we started off with a smaller viewport, but it got full, so we needed to make a bigger board, which is actually a really great thing. So what I'm going to do, because there's already a lot of content on each board, is for each topic just to pick out one thing that's interesting that I found interesting to talk about, and then everyone can take a look at the board and see what other content's on there. So this first poster is called Team RSE. How can we build and manage effective RSE teams? One of the discussions that I found interesting was this person made a comment about pair coding. So there was a comment here about group code reviews being very helpful because they can emphasize learning and not judging, and that remote group and pair coding sessions can help with skill sharing. And someone has put this comment saying, I would like to learn about what makes good pair coding. I hadn't actually thought about what makes a good pair coding session. And I think that would be an interesting discussion to continue on this poster board. One thing I'm going to point out now is that because these are Google Drive files, if you want, you can you can log into Google and you can star them to add to your own drive, which makes it that you can edit them outside of GatherTown, which actually makes it slightly easier in some cases to see the whole board. So I'm just going to flip over to the other boards using Google Drive instead. So P011 is imposter syndrome as an RSE, neither a real researcher nor a qualified software engineer. This is a somewhat poignant topic, and there's lots of honest conversation going on here. The thing that I found interesting on this one was this comment here, that's saying that RSEs are software. This person has thought that RSEs are software engineers with a research focus, and you don't need a special permission to be a software engineer. And anyone with motivation can learn to code and engineer software systems. What I highlighted was that good mentors can make this much easier. And interestingly, we've just had a talk this morning about the Society of RSE mentoring scheme, and that has just opened up. I thought that was a very relevant thing to this poster board, and maybe some discussion around mentoring would be really useful here, because definitely when I have had mentors or been involved in mentoring, it's helped a lot in terms of making me feel confident where I am in my career and not feeling like an imposter. So P1012 is, does identifying as a research software engineer dead end an academic career? So you've had some interesting views. Mostly the answer is no, but it depends on how you define an academic career, seems to be the general consensus here. But a comment here says, even if it's not true that research software being an RSE dead ends an academic career, does the idea scare off researchers focusing as identifying as an RSE? And actually someone's made an interesting counter argument, which is that maybe it's the other way around, in that as the RSE community gets stronger, there is an incentive to identify as an RSE, because the RSE identity basically comes with it this idea that you are producing other outputs other than publications, and maybe this is a way to move forward, so you don't necessarily have to be scared of identifying as an RSE. So I thought that was an interesting comment. So here, 1013 is, what are good ways to write documentation for research software? I like the little wizard guy here. That's cool. And this comment was the one that caught my eye today, which is, if possible, ask your users to help with documentation. Users may discover workflows that the software author never thought of, and they often know how to use their tools to the fullest. And although I sort of knew this somewhere in the back of my head, I like that someone had written it down, because sometimes it's easy to fall into the trap of feeling that documentation is something that you write and then you hand over to the users. Like, this is how you use the software. But really, documentation is more of a partnership between the person who is authoring the documentation and the person who's using it, which is typically the user of the software, although it can also be the developer. So thinking about documentation more as a partnership and a two-way thing actually is very useful. And so the final discussion poster here is what I would have told my younger self, advice to new RSEs on getting started in the field. And the little thread that's going on here about not inventing the wheel is what interested me. So someone's advice is, don't reinvent the wheel to solve a problem, see what can be reused or repurposed, which I agree is good advice. But then another person has said, this can be tough because it's tempting to do it all. And sometimes building a bad wheel can help you build your understanding of what makes a good wheel. And therefore allow you to move on to adopt someone else's better version. And the third comment, which full disclosure comes from me, is that maybe it's true in both senses, in that it's okay to reinvent the wheel, but you need to be conscious that you're actually doing it and for what reason you're doing it. The worst situation to be in, and the situation that I have been in the past, is where you accidentally reinvent the wheel because you don't know what's available And then you find out that there actually exists a really great wheel out there, and you've got your sort of not so great wheel, and you feel like you spent a lot of time working on something that where you could have spent your time better spent it on something else. So that's a discussion poster boards. Christopher, did you want me to continue sharing to go to the other posters, or is that good?
I think that's good.
Okay.
I think those are the ones that are going to be changing the most. But thank you for that, James. I think I would add to that actually. On the wheel, I personally find that as well. So nowadays, what I do with wheels is I will try and write a little bit, and that gets me to understand what the thing is I'm actually trying to do. So it's like, what does the wheel really look like? Because you don't really know what the wheel is till you start to write it. And then that beginning of writing the wheel then enables you to find the real wheels out there and to actually know by how you should judge their quality. Because, when you first look at, the whole library of things, you can't possibly see everything that's there. But yeah, in my age, I've now come to realize that whatever piece of software you write, somebody has already written it. And there's almost no software that nobody has written before. So even if you think you're working on this brand new, wonderful wheel that no one's done before, I can guarantee somebody has written that wheel before, but you can then have a knowledge of how to judge it. But thank you for that tour, James. Digressing into discussion topics there. So, and indeed, this is actually exactly, and this is actually what I would like to see happen now. So everyone who's turned up for this session, I encourage you now, please go to the discussion boards and we can continue these conversations actually in GatherTown. Oh yeah, and it has been, as Jez says, the wheel has probably been implemented in Emacs. Emacs has got everything in it. I'm sure there's a Hartree-Fock solver in there as well somewhere. And somebody Google it, I can guarantee there probably is a Hartree-Fock solver built into Emacs somewhere. But yeah, so please go to the poster session, go to the boards, network with people, chat with people, and continue these discussions and write them up. But otherwise, thank you for coming to this lightning session, and we'll see you tomorrow when we have some more talks and we have some more sessions. Thank you for coming. See you in GatherTown. Bye.